All right, everybody. Good afternoon on this Victory Friday. Hope you guys are doing well today. And we've got quite a bit to get to. Not all of it Seahawks related. We do have quite a few videos to get through today, so buckle up. Going to be a bumpy ride, but I will get you through it. So we're going to start with Pro Football Focus because I know that Pro Football Focus videos, you definitely want to discuss them. The grading, the grading and the stats from PFF shortly after the game. I know I usually do this on a Monday. I'm going to go ahead and do this today, the offense and the defense, because I feel like the longer you wait, the less people are engaged with what happened in that game. There's less interest in how that game went, and you get building interest in what's going to happen in the next game. So we're going to look at the Pro Football Focus offensive numbers today. First, though, let me tell you about Sleeper. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Take a look on the left side of your screen. Look at all the great stuff you can pick on over there. Let's put together an entry for this weekend. Here is mine. I've got Bijan Robinson scoring an anytime touchdown. Atlanta's offense is due for a breakout after last week's tremendous disappointment, scoring 0 points. I got Micah Parsons getting at least half a sack against the Cowboys. How is he not going to get a sack in that game? It's a revenge game for him. I got Rome Odunze with at least 59 receiving yards. He's feeling it right now. He's going up against the Raiders. Think he's going to do well. And I got DK Metcalf after two relatively slow games, getting at least 51 yards. Pittsburgh's having trouble running the ball. Time for DK to bust a big play or two. Get on over to Sleeper, put together your entry. You can get a $100 match on your first deposit with promo code SBN. Terms and conditions apply. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. So once again, this is not a complete endorsement, nor is it a complete condemnation of Pro Football Focus. I just think they do good work, and it's worth looking at every week. So starting with the offense, let's do the top line grades here. The best players on the team last night, for the most part, are fairly obvious. Maybe not Jake Bobo, but Bobo only played 10 snaps anyway, so it's not like there's a lot of meaningful data there. 89.3 is pretty good, though. JSN comes in not too far away, a close second, right? 50 or 85.9. And by the way, his run blocking grade was very high, which is interesting because he picked up a very important holding penalty on a very important play. So it's almost like they're trying to say they don't think that was holding. So read into it as you will, but it sure seems like they didn't punish him for the holding in any case, which I would guess that's what that means. And Sam Darnold does well as well, 73.6. You know, I can only really remember one bad play he had, which was the strip sack. So I'm a little bit surprised it's not higher. I know that it wasn't some over the top great game. It wasn't one of those Aaron Rodgers throws for 6 touchdown games. I get that, but it was pretty efficient. Like I don't totally know what they were looking for beyond what they got here. But anyway, Charbonnet was next, which is interesting, right? Because he was not very productive as a runner. They like his pass protection more than anything else. And again, this kind of speaks to what I'm saying with both of these running backs. For the most part, they're doing their job. Like, they gave him a really good run grade. He's just not getting the support he needs from the offensive line. Hard for me to hate on either of these guys right now. Abe Lucas, actually one of the highest grades on the team, which I really don't think I agree with. They think he was slightly above average as a pass blocker and a good run blocker. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I thought he looked bad. So right away, I'm going to have to kind of partition myself from Pro Football Focus's findings because I thought Lucas was rough. And maybe the run blocking thing is valid, maybe, but I'm having a hard time with the pass protection in this game from him. Cooper Kupp, pretty good grade here, 69.1. I know it wasn't huge production, but they loved his run blocking. And Cooper Kupp is not going to have big production in every game he plays. He's too old for that. Every now and then he'll have a big game, but for the most part, he's just going to make minor contributions like he did last night. Arroyo, well graded, good game for him. And he may have not been 100% in this game, so we're starting to get a little something there. Barner's right there as well. They dinged his blocking pretty significantly, which again, I don't think the blocking in general was very good last night. I'm still a little bit surprised by how badly they dinged him here. But Barner was good. Horton, sure, fine, whatever. Now we're getting into the players that are a little more anonymous. Walker down here, 63.2. The main reason why the grade is low as it is, the pass blocking grade is terrible because he allowed a pressure and he only had one pass blocking rep. And the penalty, I'm assuming, because it was a very costly penalty, so deserved, unfortunately. Gray Zabel, sure, whatever. Charles Cross, one of the worst graded games he's had in a while. Pretty much entirely because of his run blocking, though. The pass protection they thought was still really good. Run blocking, shaky, which, I mean, Charles Cross is a air raid tackle. It's not shocking when he doesn't always bring it in the run game, so I get it. And I think that's a reasonable conclusion here. Tariq Young, Amari Kite, they played 2 snaps each. I didn't even notice either guy, to be perfectly honest, but 60, nothing really to say. Anthony Bradford, actually not as bad as I thought. It's basically right at replacement level, 59.3. Like, that's honestly, I'm okay with that from Bradford, honestly. If that was actually his level of performance last night, and I don't know if it was, fine. Sundell, he gets really good credit for the pass protection, but he gets dinged heavily on the run blocking, so he ends up slightly below sea level. And the 2 guys who got actually, like, noticeably bad grades were Brady Russell, so get well soon, Robbie Oots, and Eric Saubert, who is our 3rd string tight end. So it's not really shocking. Mostly because of the penalty, by the way. The penalty really hurt him. So that's the top line grades. Mostly what you would expect. Definitely some surprises, though. I don't think Abe Lucas was good last night. I'm having a hard time buying that one. I also don't know if I agree with Bradford's, but I'm open to that one at least, because you can see how strongly partitioned his grades are. That may be correct. Okay, so first thing I want to look at here in terms of like the stats would be the Sam Darnold passing stuff. There are a couple things I like to look at here. First, he had 1 big-time throw according to PFF last night. So he is coming through with the big-time throws. He's not hitting a lot of them, but he is hitting some of them. No turnover-worthy plays. I'm going to kind of disagree with that. I think that the strip sack is a turnover-worthy play that just didn't end in a turnover. I think he held onto the ball way too long on that play. So I don't know if I agree with that. I think there should be some understanding of having a turnover-worthy play on a play like that. Also got hit with 1 drop. That was the K9 drop, by the way, not the Horton drop, which they don't consider to be a drop. And got pressured on 10 dropbacks in this game, which it felt like more, to be perfectly honest. This is actually not as bad as I thought it would be. So my impression watching that game was that it was our worst game of the year for pass protection, and maybe it was, but PFF does not think that it was the pressure party that it felt like. They thought he got pressured a lot more against Pittsburgh. All right, so that's that. The passing chart is pretty normal this week. Does hit a couple of deep shots down the field, outside right, 2 for 2. Great stuff. Uses the intermediate part of the field well. And by the way, one thing that people are talking about a lot today is that Darnold was very good on passes more than 10 yards down the field. That bears out here. Doing pretty well near the line of scrimmage. Behind the line of scrimmage, though, there's 1 good play and 2 plays that don't really go anywhere. Still some struggles. There's nothing too extraordinary about this passing chart, but it is certainly still interesting to look at every week, I think. And Darnold continues to use basically all parts of the field fairly effectively, except behind the line of scrimmage, where I don't know what he's supposed to do there, really. I don't know if that's him. I don't know if you can really put that on his shoulders, but good passing chart overall. Receiving grade stuff, again, the only thing I really like to look at here, I'm not that interested in the grades. I'm not interested in the target stats. Like that can be interesting. JSN 24 snaps listed as a wide receiver and 5 listed as a slot receiver. So he is still killing it playing on the outside, which that to me, that is the real revelation here. There is no way that you can tell me that this was something that was foreseeable based on everything we knew about JSN. The fact that he could be one of the best receivers in football playing a majority of his snaps on the outside like this is wild. All right. So that's stuff right there. I do like to look at this sometimes. I don't think this week the receiver matchup stuff is all that compelling. I do note that Cooper Kupp had a different matchup every time that he got targeted in this game. He got linebackers, he got cornerbacks, he got a safety. So good things happening there. I like the fact that they're able to consistently work mismatches with their receiver. JSN, not so much this week. He got 4 catches, all of them on Max Melton, who is, in this game, probably the Cardinals' best cover guy because Will Johnson's out. He did get 1 target against a linebacker, but he didn't catch it. So there's not really too much to report here. So, excuse me. I think this is notable just because he went against the best the Cardinals had. And I'm not saying Max Melton's great, but he did go up against the best the Cardinals had, and he certainly won the battle. No doubt about it. All right, so that's really the only thing I care to look at on this page. I think that's the thing that's truly interesting. Rushing direction, though, there's a lot to get into here. And basically, when you take a look at all this, they really struggled running to the left side of the field for the most part. They had no success running off left end, or very minimal success, less than 3 yards a carry. No success at all running off left tackle or off left guard, really. They only tried it once, so I'm not trying to ascribe big meaning there. So a lot of problems over there. As you move to the right, it starts to get a little bit better. Middle left between Zabel and Sundell was actually fine. Middle right was bad, but it was just 2 carries. But then you get to the outside right. That's where good things did happen. And that's where I wonder if Abe Lucas might have earned his money last night, because I didn't think he played well watching the game at all. But if you look at this, running off left tackle, which is the gap between the right tackle, or yeah, I said left tackle, it's right tackle, and the tight end on that side, if there is a tight end, you have 5 carries, 33 yards, which is quite good. And then off right end, which is outside the right side tight end, 8 carries, 45 yards. They were not very effective anywhere else, but those 2 areas, they were good. So again, the outside zone stuff is still where this team really needs to be looking to get their production. And that is going to create some inconsistencies. There's not going to be a lot of 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards. But it is definitely worth noting that this is ultimately where the plays actually get made. And that's not surprising to me, but I think this is why Bradford and Lucas both got graded better than I expected. So that's the main takeaway here. Left side having some issues running the ball, definitely having more success on the right side. So we'll see if that continues as time goes by. Pass blocking. Okay, so even though they gave him a sack, even though they said he allowed a sack, which I want to stress, I don't think Cross did anything all that wrong on that play. He stopped Josh Sweat. Darnold held onto the ball too long, and the Sweat got a sack. It happens. So I don't really put that on Cross, and it doesn't seem like PFF does either, because they gave him a very high pass blocking grade. Charbonnet also gets a really good pass blocking grade. Clean game for him. Saubert allowed a pressure, but still had a clean grade. AJ Barner, clean pass blocking grade. Nice to see. Sundell allows 1 pressure, but they still think he played really well in pass protection. Russell, Kite, not much to report there. And then Zabel was fine, adequate. He allowed 2 pressures. They didn't think he was graded poorly. Lucas, though, they actually gave him about a 64, which surprises me. I can see the run blocking thing. I did not get the sense that Lucas was playing well in pass protection at all. I didn't. And he did allow 2 pressures, so they did ding him there. But I am very surprised that they only got him for the 63.7. To me, that's well above where he was last night. And I don't know what's going on with Lucas. Maybe it's not as bad as I think, but I feel like it is as bad as I think. Anyway, Bradford and Walker are the only 2 guys that got bad grades. They got very bad grades. Bradford allows a sack and another hit, or hurry. And then Walker allows the hurry, but it's the only rep he has, so what else are you going to do but punish him? So, yeah, It's not as bad as I would have thought. I don't think that this grading scale accurately reflects some of the issues we had, but it maybe does speak to the fact that things weren't as bad as I initially thought. Excuse me. Okay, so that's pass protection. The run blocking stuff, again, I'm just going to look at zone v gap. Actually, a good amount of gap in this game, which maybe isn't that surprising because we had a lot of success running gap against the Cardinals last year, but it is a completely different set of defensive line personnel, so I don't know how meaningful that is. And again, we did run more zone than gap, which that's what this team is built to do. And you can see that the run blocking grade overall is still not very good. Like, you can see some good stuff at the very top, but look, it's all receivers. Bobo, JSN Cup, they get all the good grades, and then things slip the more you get down to the offensive lineman, it feels like. Cross is right at the bottom here, which is wild. And his struggles mostly came from gap, which that checks out. That makes sense. Okay. That's it for the Pro Football Focus offensive look. Let me know what you guys think down below. It was a mixed effort from the offense this week, I think. It was enough to win. It was not enough to make us feel great about where the offense is headed, I think. But yeah, I don't think it was a bad game either. There were bad elements to it. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. This is what PFF thinks. Again, I don't agree with them on some counts, but it's still worth looking at every week. Okay. Defensive video coming a little bit later. A lot of videos in the pipe today. Keep an eye out. Go Hawks.